Before we begin our podcast, we'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land we're recording on. For Cass, it's the Borragagal people, and for Hayley, it's the Dharawal people.
Drag me out.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to DragMeOutOfficial. I'm Cass.
I'm Hayley.
And we're just going to talk shit for the next God knows how long.
So how was your week? What'd you do?
Got my legs waxed. Went to a funeral. That's pretty much it. Those were the two big things that I did. Oh, and I went to Big W to get the storage containers, and then I ended up spending more money than I probably should have.
Always happens.
Mm-hmm. So what did you do this week?
Nothing at all. Oh, I did spend quite a bit of time editing last week's episode just because it was over 2.5 hours, so I had to cut that down. That pretty much took up the first part of my week. Yeah, not much. Wasn't very productive.
Well, you got the episode out, so there's your production.
Exactly.
There's your production. We shall start by talking about technically our favourite subject, but at the same time not. Food. What'd you do? What'd you eat? Did you eat anything new?
Okay, so I did. It's not anything particularly great, but as we spoke about earlier, it's hard to find things when you're out and about, and it's hard to find healthy things, especially that don't contain lettuce. So I was next to McDonald's and my son wanted McDonald's. So I was like, okay, so we'll go in, and I usually get my 3-piece nugget meal, sweet and sour sauce, Happy Meal, because I want that toy. And he turns around. He couldn't have been, I think I have socks older than the dude who served me. And he's like, we don't have any nuggets. And I was like, how can you even call yourself a McDonald's?
How can they not have nuggets?
Well, the delivery truck was sitting in one of the lanes for the drive-through, so I'm assuming that they were coming in. So whatever. I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. Give me a cheeseburger, no onion, no pickle. And I ate it. It was glorious.
Yep.
And yeah, no, I didn't have any adverse effects. I chopped it in half, ate half of it, and then I was like, I could eat the other half. Didn't.
They're not very big.
No, and I didn't end up eating the chips. I just had that, and I think maybe 2 mouthfuls of drink, and I was like, okay, I'm over this now.
Right.
But yeah, if I had another option, I would have taken it, but I had no nuggets.
It's like that time, a couple of times I've gone to KFC pre-surgery, and I've gone to order, and they go, oh, we're out of chicken. And I go, it's KFC. C. The C stands for chicken. And they go, oh, but we can give you chips. And I went, well, that starts with a fucking C too. And I'm like, well, maybe you should put a sign up before people start going into the drive-through, because then I felt compelled to buy chips, and I wanted the 3-piece feed.
Well, obviously this McDonald's was like due for its delivery because they didn't have frappes, they didn't have milkshakes, they didn't have whatever it is that normally goes out. I think they had no apple pies or something. Some lady wanted an apple pie. I'm like, it's 11 o'clock in the morning. What are you doing?
Yeah, right.
Be like a normal person. Get an apple pie with a McFlurry and shove it in there. Yeah, so I think, yeah. But anyway, that was my option. I had it. I'll try not to have one again unless it's because I do like the nuggets. Nuggets just get me over the line. But yeah, so that was what I ate this week. Did you try anything new?
Did I try anything new? Oh, I tried one thing. I tried something really, really bad, but because this week was a kind of a blowout because of the funeral and everything, I had a caramel donut. I didn't eat it all. I had like 3 bites of it. And I was like,
I'm not a huge donut fan in general, so.
Well, it was there, and I was like, I think it was like 2 bites, and I was done. I was like,
before you come for us, yes, we understand that this is how we got in this predicament in the first place. But sometimes when you got no option, something is better than nothing, because you feel very lightheaded and like we spoke about last week, you eat like 10 times a day, but it's small meals, and because you need it, because otherwise you just feel very faint.
And the hunger pang is almost to the point of excruciating sometimes.
So I haven't had like hunger pains like that. Today, I think I experienced dumping, but it only lasted about half an hour. And it wasn't because of what I ate. I think it was because of how much I ate.
Okay. Usually dumping is because of what you eat, not necessarily.
Okay. Then maybe not. I was in a lot of pain. Like my stomach sort of tensed up and I couldn't straighten. Mm-hmm. So I think it was like trying to stretch it a little bit, I think.
Right.
What we were talking about earlier about not trying to stretch our stomachs.
Mm-hmm. But the other thing is also, and they can come for us if they actually want to, but I think I said in one of the earliest episodes that we've done, you can, and I was actually reading it again today, you can't deny yourself the bad stuff, because if you do, then all you will crave is the bad stuff, and then you'll go, fuck it, I'll just have a Kit Kat, or I'll just have a Mars bar, or whatever it is, and then that turns into a Mars bar for a snack, and then later on in the afternoon, like a Turkish delight for a snack, and all of that other stuff. And I'm speaking from personal experience because I did it 2 days ago, and felt like crap after it. So I learned that lesson. And then, as I said, the caramel donut thing. It was there, and I wasn't near any. This is what we were saying. Like, I wasn't near anything, but I thought I needed something, and I didn't have.
It's hard to find snacks though that you can take with you everywhere. Like, I'm not a huge fan of muesli bars. I never have been.
And they're dry.
Yeah, they're really dry and like heavy because they're stuck together. So maybe that's something that we need to look at, is like snacks that we can actually take with us. So what burst your pancreas this week?
Now, sent you a message so I wouldn't forget it, and I didn't forget it. Okay. This was triggered by the funeral that I went to today earlier this week for my uncle. This, and I cannot stress enough, did not happen at this funeral, to my knowledge.
Okay.
Right. And I was like looking around the room a little bit. So I've seen it a couple of times on people's Facebook, Instas, all of that other stuff. And I went to a funeral about 5 or 6 years ago, and I actually watched this happen, and I was quite disgusted. And everybody was wondering why I was disgusted, but here it is. Okay. People who take selfies at funerals, or on their way to funerals, or on their way after funerals. Selfies should not be taken at a fucking funeral.
I agree.
Like, it is a disgusting, disgusting, disgusting act to do. Taking a selfie, like, it's after the funerals happen and you're at the wake and everything. And the funeral that I went to about 5, 6 years ago, right? They were standing there and they're all like standing around. And the person who was actually grieving, the partner of the person who died, they were getting her in on the selfies as well. It's like, oh, we know your husband just died, but, here.
Let's remember this day forever.
Like, whatever happened to fucking human decency? Whatever happened to your mourning the death of a person and it's a somber occasion? I mean, some occasions aren't somber and some people are like, thank fuck they're dead. Or the person is like, I don't want you to grieve and be sad and all of that. I want it to be a celebration of my life when I go, and that's great and everything. But this funeral in particular was not a celebration because the guy committed suicide. And they were the friends of the bereaved, quote unquote, widow were taking selfies. They're just standing there taking fucking selfies. What the hell is wrong with human beings these days? You don't take selfies at a funeral. What is the matter with you people? Has society declined so much that there is not one event that does not have to be captured? Like, what the fuck? Don't take selfies at funerals. Like, have some common decency. Have some respect for the families who are grieving and the people who knew them who are grieving and all of that. Don't take fucking photos. What is wrong with you? Fuck you and your fucking camera. Next time I go to a funeral, which hopefully won't be for a long time, but next time I go to a funeral and I see that, I'm going to fucking photobomb every single fucking one of those fucking selfies. As soon as I see that fucking camera go up and they start taking the photos, you're going to see my fucking ugly face in the background doing this. Like, seriously, what is wrong with people? Why? Why would you take a photo of yourself at the funeral? I don't get it. Like, the next thing you're going to see is all of these people like fucking over the casket like this going with like the viewing of the dead body. Like, oh, just one more for the road, mate. Oh, no, the light wasn't very good. You're looking pale. He's fucking dead. And it triggered, like, as I said, it didn't happen. And if it happened, I didn't see it. And it did not happen at my uncle's funeral, thank the Lord. However, had it have happened, pretty sure that you would have looked at news.com.au or the front of the paper the next day, and there was just going to be some kind of like mass beating of human beings. Like, have some respect for the dead and have some dignity for yourselves. Like, fuck, not everything is a selfie occasion. I go places and someone goes, did you take photos? Because if you didn't take photos, it didn't happen. And I'm like, I don't think to take fucking selfies when I'm at a concert. I don't think to take selfies, blah, 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 blah.
But I feel it's a generational thing too. Like, we didn't grow up. I didn't get a phone till I was like 14 or 15. You would have been a
20s.
little bit older.
20s.
Yeah. So, and even then there were the shitty ass little phones that you'd be lucky to get any sort of photo on it anyway. So it hasn't been in my head, oh, take a photo. I always get reminded to take photos, or, oh, you should take a photo. I'm like, oh yeah, okay. Like, no worries. But usually I just like being there.
But at a funeral?
No, not at a funeral, but I'm just saying.
What kind of an occasion do you, why do you need to, you know what I mean? Like, why do you need to keep a memory of that? I don't understand. Because usually when you go to a funeral, they have a photo of the person, but like, they're all standing around taking photos and fucking selfies and like, piss off. Maybe. Anyway, what burst your pancreas this week?
Mine's similar, but mine's more of an experience I had, and it's still, when I think about it, burst my pancreas. Like, it was a wedding. So I'll set the scene. This is going to be a long story. I'll set the scene. So my husband was supposed to come with me to the wedding. It was a work friend of mine that got married, and he couldn't go at the last minute. I think he started a new job, so he couldn't get the time off, and he didn't want to piss them off. So I was like, okay, whatever. That's all right. I'll take another work friend who still mutual friends, so it's not weird. And she would have been invited if the numbers had added up. Like, he only had a certain amount. And I was like, okay. So I took Victoria. Shout out to Victoria. She was a great date. But at this point, I was 38 weeks pregnant. So we drive an hour and a half to stay in this shitty little cottage with two of our other friends who stayed with us. And they got the big bed, which is fine. I got the single bed. Victoria got the other single bed. Mind you, we show up to this little hotel that we paid. Oh, we didn't pay that much for it. Like, if we didn't split it, we would have. But when we got there, it was like a little cottage. We bought drinks like Powerade and stuff, so we put them in the fridge. But as soon as we opened the fridge, it smelt like there'd been 10,000 fish in there and they'd all died. So we had to close the fridge real quick. And I was like, what the hell, Stephen? Like, what's with the fridge? He's like, I don't know. It was like that when we got here. So like, okay. So I go into my room, which you had to go through the boys' room to get to my room to get to the bathroom. And the bed was like if a really fat person sat in the middle and then lied on the edge. That's how it was permanently like that. So I'm 38 weeks pregnant. Do I get a good sleep? No, I do not. However, so we get ready, go to the wedding, and we get there. The ceremony's beautiful. Everything's nice. It's all like, it was down in like Kangaroo Valley that way. Like it was
that's beautiful down there.
like nice area. It was in this oldish hotel, and the weather wasn't great either. So we get through the ceremony. They gave me a present because I hadn't seen them, because I've obviously been on maternity leave and I hadn't seen them in quite some time. So they actually bought the present to the wedding, which was lovely of them. And they gave me like a baby present. So I said to Victoria, I said, do you mind if we go back to the car? I want to put this back before the reception. She's like, yeah, sure, no worries. So we go to leave, and this lady who will be known as Karen from Kangaroo Valley stops me, and she goes, they're about to sign the registry. I don't think you should leave yet. And I'm like, are you stopping me from leaving? Meanwhile, 4 or 5 people walk in. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll wait, whatever. We had to stand. I was like, whatever. So I went over to stand at the work table because all the work friends were there. And I was like, oh, I really want a drink. And they were over near the door. So I was like, all right, I'll go get a drink. And Karen from Kangaroo Valley, we're actually not serving drinks now. And I look back at my other friend and I'm like, she's holding a drink. But so we're not allowed to have drinks? I'm visibly pregnant. And she's like, no, we're not serving the drinks now. Meanwhile, it's not a drink. It was like you pour it yourself. Like it was just jugs everywhere. I was like, okay. So the only thing that you can enjoy as a pregnant person, and even you, because you don't drink, is the food. So never do your wedding like this. Never do like whatever it is, fish, beef, fish, beef, fish. Never do that. Always put a preference on the preference sheet. When someone ticks, yes, I can come. Yes, I want the beef. So they had, I think it was beef and chicken. And I was like, what are the chances that I'm going to get the chicken? Not in the mood. Anyway, I think the first meal came around and we all did little swapsies. And then the second one, no one wanted the chicken for the reason that I cut it open and it was still pink.
Mm.
It's like, I know it was thigh meat, so it could have a little bit of pink to it, but I'm not a fan. I can barely do chicken at the best of times, let alone thigh meat. No, thank you. I saw this waitress walk with a spare beef back to the kitchen. And I turned around to one of the other waiters and I said, could I have that beef that she just walked back there? And he goes, oh, just go check. Karen from Kangaroo Valley pops back out again. Sorry, we don't have any beef.
That's because she ate it.
It's because the fat bitch ate it.
She was like, fuck you, that's my dinner.
Which is fine because I used to work in catering, and if there was leftover stuff. But if a guest requested it, like they hadn't even finished serving yet, so the food was still there. I'm like, she just must hate breeders.
Maybe she just hated you.
But I didn't do anything. If I did something, then go ahead.
You don't need to.
She just picked on me. And Karen from Kangaroo Valley, I wouldn't recognize you if I saw your face today. But if I ever go back to that place, she ruined that night for me because A, I was hungry.
And thirsty.
B, I couldn't do anything. And C, we're in the middle of nowhere. So there's nothing. There's no food. There's no fast food. Everyone wanted Macca's, but I'm like, it's a 20-minute drive there and back. And I'm not going to be on the front page of news because you two are drunk as 2 monkeys. I don't know if monkeys get drunk, but drunk as 2 monkeys in the back seat playing footsies. And I'm going to crash my little Barina and we're going to get killed on the side of a country road. I'm like, yeah, it's just not worth it, unfortunately. But other than that, I had a nice date. Victoria was a great date. Worst wedding experience ever. And Karen from Kangaroo Valley, I don't even know if it was Kangaroo Valley, but it sounds right.
You're a fucking mole.
Yeah, you're a mole.
Give her the beef and give her a fucking drink.
Wasn't that hard. And the food
Karen
was
from Kangaroo
dreadful.
Valley.
They would have paid like $120 a head, easy.
No, wedding food's not supposed to be nice.
I know, but that's the only thing I can enjoy.
True.
She would have given me the fucking beef.
You've got a beef with the fact that she didn't give you your beef. There was one wedding that I've been to, and it was the wedding that I really didn't want to go to, like really didn't want to go to, that it actually had the best food, and I still rave about it to this day. I go, the wedding was shit, and the couple got divorced, which they fucking deserved anyway. But gee, it was good food. It was really, really good. Even the dessert was good. Like everything, the entree was good, the main was good, the dessert was good. Everybody was satisfied with what they had. It's really good. The bride and groom are fucking assholes and deserve everything that they get.
All right, so we're going to do our roast or toast.
So yes, why? Who wants to go first?
I'll go first with Connie and Carla.
Okay, so we got you to watch Connie and Carla with Nia Vardalos and Toni Collette and David Duchovny. What do you think of it?
So if anyone hasn't watched it, the premise is Connie and Carla are like, they're good stage performers, but they're just performing in a shitty area that no one appreciates them. They witness their boss getting killed, so they have to travel to another state to escape these Russian mobsters. They accidentally walk into a gay bar, see drag queens for the first time, decide to go into the contest and pretend to be drag queens who actually sing because all the other drag queens were obviously lip syncing. Everybody loves them, but they still think they're dudes. So they get hired at the club and involve the other drag queens because they don't get paid enough, which is still happening, not getting paid enough. They become a hit, and then obviously the Russian boss locates them. David Duchovny, he's the straight brother of one of the drag queens. He's obviously coming to terms with the whole thing. He's a bit conflicted. And then Connie falls in love with David Duchovny, but he's like, "Ew, you're a dude." And she's like, "I'm not a dude. I'm a woman." He's like, "Yeah, whatever. I don't believe that." Even though they both look like women. But anyway, it's like white chicks. Debbie Reynolds, who plays Grace's mum in Will and Grace, is fabulous as usual. She pops up in the end. You know, their final performance gets busted up by the Russian mobsters, and they all think it's part of the performance, and then they get arrested, and Debbie Reynolds is like, "What the hell's going on?" And they're like, "Have you seen Yentl?" And everyone puts their hands up, and they're like, "It's like that, where Barbara Streisand lied, but she did it for a good cause." And then they start booing them. I think Debbie Reynolds is like, "Cut it out." I think that's what she, like, just stop it.
No, what had happened was when they had first got jobs, when they got to Los Angeles, they worked at a beauty salon.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. The beauty salon people are like, "They made me feel like a woman." So, of course, the show must go on. So they continue with the show after all that. You know, it was okay. I wasn't a huge fan of it. Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna go straight to the roast or toast. I was gonna give it one toast, but I'll give it two toasts because of the cast. It's not something that I'd watch again.
What is wrong?
That's your challenge, to find an older movie that I'll give 5 toasts to.
What is wrong with you? Like, it's Connie and Carla. Come
on.
on.
Like, I can appreciate it, but
Alec Muppet is in it. He was in Cream.
Oh yeah, I know. That was funny. Peaches and cream.
And Cream. Yeah. Who is that? No joy. We've got no joy.
I've got no joy. I'm a millennial. The joy's been sucked out of me.
Got no joy.
Yep, that'll be your challenge, to find me something I like.
Shit on your business. You've technically shit on this one.
Yeah, anything
like
under
Elvira.
Yeah, I did mind Elvira, but I feel like,
and Clue.
Yeah, I liked Clue, but I wouldn't watch any of them again.
I've watched Connie and Carla like 17 times. I love
it. Doesn't surprise me. You don't have a lot going on.
It's true. But I'll probably watch it again this weekend because I love it.
So I made you watch Jumanji.
You did. Every time I say Jumanji, the first one with Robin Williams, yeah. So every time I say Jumanji, I think Givenchy.
Oh, yeah.
Givenchy.
I don't feel that you have to give the premise of the movie because I feel that everybody but you has seen it. But you know.
Probably. I actually didn't mind it. I was quite surprised that I didn't mind it. Yeah.
What made you not want to watch it?
It's part of that whole like sci-fi fantasy-ish genre type thing, which really, it's just not my thing. It's not my bag, baby. It was like with Sharknado, I had my phone in front of me, like looking at stuff when it first started. And I went, oh, I should. And once again, I went, oh, I'm reviewing this. I should probably put it down. And I started to watch it. And the first couple of minutes, it goes back to like 1869 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And like they're burying the game and they're like, well, what happens if someone opens it? And he's like, God rest their soul or something. And I was like, okay. There was a little bit of a trigger for me, just a little small one. And it happens in some movies sometimes because I was bullied when I was younger.
When he gets bullied for his shoes.
Well, when they're chasing him on the bike.
Oh, okay, yep.
And he runs into the shoe factory and his father's like, you've got to stand up to them, like stand up to people and blah, blah, and all of this, and like sends the kid out to be destroyed.
Yeah, not like supportive, like just like, go be a man. Like that's how you be a man.
Yeah, and that wasn't the trigger. Like it wasn't like my mum turned around and said, like, go into a dark alleyway and get yourself beaten up because it'll make you, it'll help your character. Like the trigger of him being like chased and beaten up, because like that had happened to me. So I was like, okay. Not that turned me off the movie. It was just like every time I see those things, I kind of have that quick little like Vietnam flashback. Oh, Lilith from Frasier's in it.
Yeah.
BB Newworth.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm in now because I love her. And then so she's like looking after, I'm assuming, sister's kids because the parents had died in a skiing accident, although the daughter lies about when it happens, when the United Nations building blows up and my parents died and stuff. The very young Kirsten Dunst, I didn't like her character at all. They're playing it and there's like monkeys and spiders, not drunken monkeys, although they behaved like drunken monkeys. And there was some elephants and some rhinoceros and like all of that. And they're like, we have to finish the game in order to stop all of this stuff. But then there's like a safari game hunter who gets let out of the game as well. And, I mean, obviously the CGI and stuff for that time, at the time, would have been great. But like when you're looking at it with eyes as old as mine now, you're just going, well,
that's definitely a spider on a string.
The lion doesn't look real and stuff. And like I found myself like going, do I hope they that it's going to end the way that it ends. And that they're going to finish the game and everything's going to go back to normal and all of this other stuff. But I did like the fact that it wasn't one of those, they finish the game and everything goes back to normal and like the auntie's none the wiser. Like they all got caught up in it and everything. There was a part of a take back to Sharknado when like the water had like they opened the doors and the water went out and the crocodiles were going out as well. And like BB Newworth and the copper were on doors, like sailing through this, like surfing through the streets, and there was a crocodile going between them. And I was like, oh, Sharknado flashback, nice. It all ties in just well. So I did enjoy it. If it was on TV and I had nothing else to watch and I just happened to be flicking and it was there, I'd probably sit and watch it again. Right? I will say this, though. For a Robin Williams movie, everyone, you go into a Robin Williams movie and unless you know that it's like a drama, you kind of expect some level of funny. I enjoyed it and I'm going to give it I'll give it 2 slices of toast. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you watch the sequels?
No.
Okay. So what have you got for me this week?
Okay. So it's on YouTube, so the picture quality may not be very good.
Okay.
It's an Australian movie.
Yes.
It's called Hercules Returns.
Okay. So my movie for you this week would be Mean Girls. This is a shout out to Donna Bellissima. I think you'll actually enjoy it. Trigger warning, little bit of bullying and emotional abuse. But All right. So moving on to Drag Race UK.
Caught up
I'm caught up too.
after last week's debacle where I fell asleep during the first episode. Caught up, even watched the third episode today.
Yes, I watched episode 3 today. So we sort of touched on the first and second episode last week.
Mm-hmm.
But I still don't have a favorite. I'm struggling to even pay attention.
I have one.
Mine would probably be Pixie Polite.
Mine's Danny Beard.
No, I'm not a fan.
Yeah, no, you know what? First 2 episodes I wasn't. And then when he had the moment where he was talking about how he was missing his husband and everything. And then he was kind of giving the pep talk and everything. I just went, yep. I'm good with you. Can we go back to, because I didn't really put my 2 cents worth in last week because thank fuck Starlet's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm sorry, but if you're that young, you don't need to tape your face that much, right? And you basically looked angry all the time. It was like emo drag queen, right? And then you weren't even very good at covering the face tapes anyway. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? And you know what? Shazza was right with the mumbling. It was like, and I was like, huh? Oh, and then when they did the girl group thing, you're right. She thought she was great. She was actually struggling for the dance moves. And then it was like something from Westworld was doing the lip syncing. It was like, and then like her lip sync for her life, like if I was RuPaul, I would have went, look, I've seen your lip syncing in the girl group challenge. Don't even bother. Get the fuck out of my studio.
Yeah, I wouldn't lip sync. You got to be able to perform. You got to be able to, like we said, it's about adaptability. You can be as pretty as you want, but if you can't perform, why are you there?
She has the personality of somebody who's laying in a casket while someone's taking a selfie. So we're talking about episode 3 now. Okay. There was a part of me that was really, really hoping that Black Pepper failed spectacularly in the lip sync because I wanted to go on. I don't like Black Pepper.
No, I knew she was going to stay.
Oh, yeah, but like Carrot Top gave it a crack.
She gave up.
Carrot Top? Is it Carrot Top?
It's a Copper.
Copper Top.
Copper Top.
Right.
She gave up when she got the bad critiques. Like they were saying to her, like in Untucked, like you need to, get it together. And she's like, yeah, no, I'll still fight for it. I'm like, no, you won't.
I like Cheddar.
I like Cheddar.
I like Cheddar. And you're right, because once again, I watched the episode today, rewatched our episode from last week today for quality purposes. Mm-hmm. And also we couldn't remember if we spoke about celebrity. So I just went to check. And I was watching when you were talking about Cheddar, it had the Sasha Velour vibe.
Mm-hmm. Or Sasha Velour could have Cheddar gorgeous vibe. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a whole Vivian Ivana Kebab thing. Yeah. But there is that vibe, and I get that, and I quite like her. I don't know how I feel about Baby. I'm kind of up and down on Baby. I don't know.
Because I liked her at the start. She made some shady comments. But you know when I start to like people is when they do the read. So when the library is open, that's one of my favorites. And obviously Snatch Game separates the winners from the losers.
The Vivian's Donald Trump goes down in history.
Yeah. And
it was a bag of chips as Margaret Thatcher because they were in the same.
Alaska Thunderfucks Mae West. Why don't you fuck me in the ass sometime?
When I'm good, I'm very good. And when I'm bad, I get a venereal disease.
Yeah. Right.
And basically anything that Jinx Monsoon does.
Yeah.
When I rewatched last week's episode, you're like, it's going to take me about 3 or 4 episodes to get into it. I'm in it now. Episode 3. Took me to episode 3. I'm in it. I'm invested now.
No. Give me one more week.
I am team Danny Beard, but that could change because I was Queen Kong. Team Queen Kong until the Attitude came out. But I actually found with Danny Beard, I thought the first episode I went, oh, here we go. And then I'm actually finding that her personality and attitude is actually quite positive.
Okay.
So I like her. I want to like Sminty Drop.
I want to, but
do you think that there may be a little bit of a love thing with Sminty Drop and
LaPhil?
They were on the same team and they were talking about, you know, have you been in love and stuff? And she was like, I haven't found anybody to love, and like I've had relationships with straight men and blah, 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 blah. And then Sminty Drop kind of goes, well, I think you're beautiful and handsome and sexy or whatever it was that she said. And I was like, oh, could there be a ship of some kind? Le Sminty?
We have to talk about Celebrity Drag Race.
Celebrity Drag Race.
Secret.
Celebrity Drag Race.
Well, not so secret.
May the best famous person win.
So I enjoyed the Poppy Love one. What I enjoyed more is I feel that Chakra 7 thought she won.
Yeah.
She had this look on her face.
Girl, you didn't win shit.
And then they're like, Poppy Love. And I'm like, yes. And then
yes.
I just want to see the split second of her heart breaking.
Why don't they love me? I'm Chakra 7. They loved me all the way through.
What a stupid name.
I know, right? Poppy Love, but Poppy Love was consistent.
Yep.
Won the first 2 weeks, was consistent, always put herself out there. And then when she had to lip sync for her life, jumped down into the crowd, got the crowd involved, getting them clapping, shaking their hands, doing all the Backstreet Boys stuff. Then did the great song by the Divinals, sung by the icon that is Chrissy Amplet, I Touch Myself. And I thought she did a great job and I wanted her to win. And this is the second time now that I have got who I wanted to win, Les Spanky Jackson and now Le Poppy Love, L'Amour. And I've actually started following AJ McLean on Insta because I've got a little crush on AJ McLean now because he's all about the love. He's all about the Poppy Love. I love you, Poppy Love. Okay. So coming up on today's episode, we actually have a very special guest. He was on season 8 of MasterChef Australia. He is a very, very, very lovely man. Jimmy Wong. Correct us if we're wrong. It was season 8 you were on, right?
Correct.
What position did you leave the show?
I think I was like 16th or something. Like I was, 16th or something. But because the episode or the season, my sister was actually on it as well. So we are the first brother and sister to ever get onto any MasterChef. So that story kind of went through the whole season. So
did she
even
beat
though I
you?
was physically, she did.
Yeah, she did.
So she actually got to 8.
Okay.
Yeah. She was cool. I mean, not that you're not cool, Jimmy, because you are.
Oh, okay. She's very cool.
But she, because she's in Canada.
She's in Vancouver at the moment and an actress. So just recently she was with Angela Jolie's father acting in the role or something. Born. John Voight. Yeah, Voight. That's it. Yeah, so that was a role. Like, I mean, she's had a few roles since, but she does acting now. So.
Jimmy's sister could possibly be a gay icon.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Given the right circumstances, because like I don't know if I ever told you, we affectionately refer to MasterChef as I cook, I cry.
Right, yeah.
Right.
Lovely.
There were obviously tears and stuff. Jimmy's sister, Teresa, she was like solid the whole way through. And the further on she got and came back, exactly.
Yeah.
So who won your season?
Her name was Elena, but Matt, who was came second, he's probably more successful. He's opened up a restaurant up in Noosa and he's on ads everywhere. So Matt, the sort of like really steely eyes and those damn earrings that he wears. I don't know. He's on olive oil ads and goodness knows he's got a like cooking show and everything.
Was he like? Did he do the steak tartare at one point? Like,
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think
Yeah. So I must have watched that season because I only watched like the first couple, and then I recently watched the latest one with all the fans' favorites. So what aren't you allowed to talk about from them? Like,
so if it was within a year, I can't talk about anything. But because it's
We're
been so
8
many
years down the track.
now, I mean, I really don't give a shit. To be quite honest.
Did they try and make you cry?
At the beginning, I didn't think so, but because there was my sister and I there, I very quickly learned that they were going to put us into situations where we were like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, we got them because we were very supportive of each other. Everybody writes to us and goes, "Oh my God, you two were just amazing because you're so supportive of each other."
Well, you were.
Yeah, but that's just what we are. You know, it wasn't. But they did actually try to sort of put us in situations where it's like, "Oh my God, you're both going to be in trouble. You know, one of you is going to go home, or who's the better cook?" I can give you an example. There's story producers, right? So every time when you sort of see taglines, like there was like, you know, in this Sunday's episode, you know, brother against sister, blah blah blah. In one of the ones that they did, they kept on asking me and Teresa, who's the better cook. I was like, can't answer that. We're both equally different. We're kind of like different. We're both good in our own way. We love each other. So I respect what she does. She respects what I do. Who's the better cook? You know, same, you know, it must have been about 20 times they asked us this. And then at the very last day of the second week when we were together, it's like, okay, I'm going to ask you one last time. And you want to give me a damn answer. Who's the better cook? And I go, okay, I'm the better cook. So it got cut to Gary, I think, asking, like, seeing Teresa and I, Gary asking who's the better cook. And I happen to be, oh, I'm the better cook. And everybody going, oh. It's like, fuck.
All in
after
the
20
editing.
times, after 20 times, you know, I didn't want to say it.
So did you have to pressure test against her?
Yeah. With pressure, like, so there's pressure test invention. There's also mystery boxes. There's all sorts of stuff. So we do stuff together. So pressure test is usually when you're getting into elimination. So we did actually go in a couple of times where we were in elimination together. And usually that's going to be a recipe. And that is what I went out on with Nigella.
I know. I was going to ask because I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember if you went out on the Nigella week. And you did.
Well, the funny thing is I got top 3 in the beginning of the week with her. And then I got out in the end. But you know what? As much as I hate to say it, I know they already made up their mind ages ago. So they were going to do anything they did to make it happen. Because we also had time with, you know, Marco Pierre White and quite a few others. And I met Heston as well. So it was really nice.
Oh, Marco Pierre White.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. He has the ultimate villain voice.
Yeah.
Like when he's talking, you just see like Disney villain, like in cartoons and stuff. Yeah. And he's an amazing cook. And I've just been watching him a little bit. Yeah. He's been doing some BBC stuff that's on YouTube.
From Marco, and I've got Nigella's one where they've signed it into sort of, you know, wish as well. Had a really nice note from Nigella before I left. So it was nice.
Okay, well then we take back, because I actually am a Nigella fan. I love her.
Yeah.
Only because how many women do you know can make a knob of butter sound sexy?
I know.
That thing. Pronunciation of microwave.
Microwave. Yes. Well, she actually pointed. So I did for one dish, this ginger, like it's fried ginger. So I basically, like, you know, not brunoise, but basically just made strips of ginger and I fried it, and I just called them fried ginger. And she goes, no, this is ginger hay. I was like, oh, I might just use that, ginger hay.
Or ginger hay.
Hi, ginger hi. So when it came to the invention boxes,
mystery boxes,
get
it right, Jesus.
Are we recording now?
So when it came to the mystery boxes, did they give you a little bit of a heads up, and go, it could be 10 of these 25 items, or did you just go in absolutely cold and they went, okay, kangaroo anus, rhinoceros tusk, marshmallow, go?
Okay, the answer is we had absolutely no clue, and they did everything they possibly can to keep it away from us. Even to the point, if you weren't cooking with an invention or mystery box, if you were up in the gantry, you had to turn around so you couldn't look at them loading it up.
Wow.
So 100%, there's two things around that. So basically mystery box had no idea. So as soon as you lifted that box, if you only had 60 minutes or half an hour, you only have half an hour to go and think about what you want to make, go and grab all your stuff, bring all your ingredients to the counter, prepare, cook, plate in that time.
Wow.
See, that's what I couldn't do. So I'm an okay cook, but I can follow a recipe to a T.
That pressure.
But I couldn't go, oh yeah, I'm going to make this. I'd be like, spaghetti bowl, anyone? Like,
yeah, no.
I got nothing.
So the pressure is absolutely there. I remember when Billy, who was one of the winners from the previous season, she came as one of the first guests. So she came to set the mystery box. And I remember I opened it up and I was like, okay, well, first of all, duck. And then there was mushrooms. And then there was like ginger wine. And I remember there was like Kellogg's cornflakes. And then there was like blah, blah, blah. All this stuff. I thought, what the heck? Beetroot. What the heck am I going to make? Well, that particular one I actually got top 3 because I did something which I'd never done before, which was cook duck. So I did it apparently quite well. I didn't do it well at the beginning, but it ended up being really well. I then rendered off the duck fat. I then cooked the Kellogg's cornflakes in the duck fat, and then I stuffed the mushrooms, and then I baked that, and then this beautiful beetroot and fennel. It was absolutely gorgeous.
See, I didn't even like duck, but that sounds good.
It does, and once again, it takes us back to the reason why we had to have the surgery.
Exactly, we can't eat anything.
Well, nowadays it's no going back for me. I mean, half my job is going and eating.
So this is a question that has always gotten to me. Was there one particular, and you don't have to answer it, and if you do, we'll edit it if you want us to, it's fine. Was there one particular contestant in your season where you're like, as long as I finish ahead of them, I'm going to be happy?
Do you know, okay, with all of the people don't understand that when the show starts, we've gone through a big process with everybody, even the ones that didn't make the show. And you got to know their families, you got to know them. You know, we actually still became friends. And I have to say the support that everybody had with each other, whether you were on the show or not on the show, was pretty unbelievable. There was psychological tests and written as well as, you know, verbal, like to meet a psychiatrist to make sure that we were able to sort of perform under pressure, but at the same time that you could handle it and that you worked well with each other. So in some ways, when you sort of say that, was that competitive side? Maybe, but was it like so damn obvious that like, you know, I need to beat such and such? Not really, to be quite honest.
Did you not like anyone?
Yeah.
Okay. You don't have to say who.
You don't have to say who. We just leave it at that. So
do you live together?
Everybody's supportive.
Yeah, they do in the house.
So it was a 6-bedroom house, and there was about 4 to 6 people in each bedroom.
Oh, you would have ate really well.
We did, but you're in studio most of the time. So basically, you sort of come, you know, go from home. You can't leave. You don't have any phones. You can't have visitors. You can't leave. There's no internet. So basically, you get picked up in the morning. You go to set. You come home sometimes 7, 8 o'clock, and then you have to cook. So each room used to take turns in cooking dinner. But when we're on set, it's usually catered.
So basically it would just be you guys going and studying recipes or something like that. Like, because, you know, they go, okay, make a cake, and I could make a cake, but I'm like, I need the portions. I'm like, how do you remember the portions?
This is Teresa, my sister, is an amazing baker. So she's very, very good with that. So it's not about remembering the ingredients. It's about proportion. So one part, you know, flour, 1 part, like X eggs, this amount of weight in sugar, blah, 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 blah. So she was very, very good at that. So she did help with a couple. One of the main things is that when you're cooking, cook to what you know. Don't go trying. I mean, my mistake was I started to do all this like fancy stuff and I had no idea what I was doing. But when you cook to what you know, you do much better. So basically, when you go into MasterChef, know something sweet, know something savory that you can actually change around. So there was one particular contestant, which I won't say, who loved panna cotta. So it could have been a savory panna cotta or it could be a sweet one. But because she knew how to make panna cottas, everything was panna cotta.
Did she reappear in the latest one?
No, she didn't.
Because I was just thinking the same thing too, because I'm like, there were a few panna cottas in that last one.
Lots of panna cottas.
But the idea is that when you sort of go in, my advice to anybody going and wanting to go into MasterChef and getting on there, just know at least 2 or 3 really good savories and 2 or 3 really good sweet recipes. And don't forget, we're in this house anywhere from like a month to 6 months. You've got time to think about it and work on it, and you learn as you're going through. The whole thing was about learning, to me, techniques like doing sous vide and stuff like that. I had no idea beforehand, but I do now. But even afterwards, after MasterChef, I really sort of took that to another level, where I went to lots of different restaurants to learn. Didn't know how to do like a lot of the sweets and baking, so I worked with Reynolds for about 3 months. Did some work over at Flour and Stone. Did some work at Key, Icebergs, just to learn all of that. So to know different things, because to go through this journey and not really get anything out of it, I think would be a shame. So I wanted to keep learning, and this one I'm still in food.
I love Reynolds.
Reynolds.
He's like my secret crush.
He's amazing.
I have lots of secret crushes on MasterChef. I'm not gonna lie.
Look, it was a wonderful thing.
I love them all.
Sort of think, it's probably one of the best personal development programs you can go on. Like we all try to improve ourselves, to know how you perform under pressure, to be able to be creative, to be able to be presenting in front. Like, I mean, people say, like, you're half dying here trying to cook, and people are asking you questions. Judges are asking you questions. How do you answer? Like, instead of telling them, like, read between the lines, get away.
Would if you asked someone else for help, would they give it to you, sort of thing?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
So my sister and I were fairly good when we were together. Like we did when you say help, there's only so much you can do, because you're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
When I was up in the gantry, there was a few times I think I was helping too much as far as yelling things, getting a little bit emotional. So I was known to be a little bit emotional when my sister was always in trouble or whatever. But when you say help, yes, support on set as well as offset. So like we helped each other learn, we shared some recipes and stuff like that. But as the show goes on a little bit further, competition sort of kicks in, and people are a little bit more protective over their secret recipes or their techniques or whatever.
Is it like a house full of like cookbooks? Is it just
house full of cookbooks, and we were able to bring some cookbooks. We just couldn't have a phone or computer or access to anything else. We had TV, but if you had cookbooks, there were some that was actually in the house, or the ones that you brought in.
Okay,
right. So why is it that almost every contestant on MasterChef, when you give them the most random ingredient, they're like, yeah, made a dish with it, I got this. And it's always something, a lot of the time it's an indigenous ingredient. But then it's something really, really random, like shark pancreas. And they're like,
so
and they're like,
there's a lot of there's a lot of very random stuff. But with everything, things about texture, temperature, and flavor pairings are very important. So when I sort of say why that's important, it's very generic, right? So if certain like umamis could be like sweet, savory, sour, bitter, and all this other stuff together, that works. Or if something that's going to be a little bit fruitier works, something with a little bit more citrus, that works. So when you're tasting anything, so ingredients is an ingredient itself. Like, what I've always loved about ingredients is how you can take something so basic like an onion, and you can go to India because of the way that you sort of treat that, or you can go to Italy because of the way you treat that, or you can go to China because of the way you treat that. It's the same ingredient. So how you put these combination of flavors together is really important. There is a book called The Flavor Bible, which is fantastic, which really helps you think about the different flavors and how they go together and what could be made. Not that we use that, but when we have challenges like that, you got to really sort of think, okay, what goes with this? Like, if you were sort of saying something like, let's say you want to poach a pear, do you use star anise? Do you use, cardamom? Do you use what would you, vanilla? What would you use in it? And to know these flavor combinations is really important, because when you get the shark pancreas, you sort of think, okay, you have a little bit of a taste. What would go with this? And you have a think about that, and that's how it starts. So when you're saying, how do you know how to use things? It's like, we didn't. But then when you get something like, let's say if you had like some of those ants, the preserved ants that you can get from back. If you had those, it's sweet. So you can actually use that in the way you think, okay, you want something sweet with this. Maybe you could do some kind of a cake that has the ants in it, or you know what I'm saying. So cake. We love cake. But when I'm sort of saying that, you got to be creative, and this is where, when you're getting in, it's not called master cook, it's master chef. You got to get in there to be a little bit more creative, know your flavors, know how you actually can put it together, and then hopefully you know some techniques that you can use, make it a little bit special, because you don't want to make an everyday dish. Because if I started to make like, a tuna salad sandwich, people would go, ugh. You got to make something different. So if you had tuna, let's say, you would do some kind of a really nice risotto with whatever fresh ingredients. And like, you want to be creative with things. You could still make a tuna salad sandwich, but you're going to be in the bottom three.
Right.
Yeah.
So is there any one particular ingredient that you had where you just went, I just can't do this and I'm just not going to? Because I know you don't have to use everything in the mystery box.
Yeah.
Was there just one where you just went, no?
Yeah, any offal. So if there's offal, I'm not. Offal's awful. I just don't eat it. I don't cook it. I don't enjoy the flavors. That would be an ingredient I wouldn't use. But everything else, from herbs and spices to vegetables to whatever, I just find it interesting. I don't look at it as like, why is it yuck? When I look at a box, or if I look at the ingredients or what's in the pantry or in the garden, it's like, what do I want out of this? What, to create the flavor, the textures and so forth, because technique gives you flavors and textures. So people do or do not know, but when we're in MasterChef, sometimes all you have is what we call under counter pantry items. So that's staples. Your milk, egg, your staples. So it's amazing what we've learned from making with staples. I mean, just to have flour, vinegar, sugar, cream, milk, butter, you can make so much stuff. So much stuff. And then when you start to sort of learn the basics of that, you can create so many things. You can make a pasta, you can make you can make a cake, you can make all sorts of stuff with flavors that you get. So one of the other things to really learn is, what can you make out of staples?
Would you go back if they asked you to come back?
I probably, look, that's a hard question. I would go back because I would love to go through the experience from a work point of view. I've worked so hard over the last 5-6 years to build up my photography and also content creation and brand ambassadorship. So I do a lot with some fantastic clients right now. To give that up would be really hard. And I've spoken to a few people as well who said the same thing. They've got thriving businesses now. For an experience, yes. Would I go back necessarily? Probably not. Not because I don't want to, but I have something that I really enjoy, speaking to ladies like yourself, but also just doing the things that I'm doing now. I am so happy right now. The clients that I have are amazing. Like, and my world is basically around food. The people that's behind food, people that cook food, people that eat food. So there's a number of angles in which I look at it, but through photography, through content, through doing things like recipes or brand ambassadorship with some of the food brands as well. I love that.
So what advice would you give us who are starting out doing this? Not obviously food. Well, we do talk about food a lot, but just sort of starting our business, I guess.
Yeah,
well,
it depends on the
journey.
business. Journey. In the journey. So whether it's doing podcasts, whether it's doing food or photography, the first and foremost thing I think is know what it is that you want to be doing. Half the time people go in there thinking this is where I think I need to be going, or this is what I kind of want to be doing. That's not the way. Really spend the time to know what it is that when you do, because when you do it and when you get there, it doesn't feel like work. Okay, that's number one. And then the second part is like, what's the thing? It's just basically do what you love and keep doing it as best as you can. Whether you get the traction from engagement or followings, or it doesn't matter, because cream always floats to the top. You just keep doing it, and then eventually it will get there. And this is what I was saying: 5 years it's taken for that damn cream to get up there, and it's really getting up there at the moment. And I've been doing it and slogging it out as much as I could. And now I'm at a point where I'm really, really happy with, like I said, the clients that I have. I think for anybody that's looking to doing this, one of the main things is know what it is that you want to be doing and just keep doing it and follow that. Because there's going to be people that you come across along your way that will either recommend or do other things to help you on that journey when you know what it is that you want. And second of all, when you actually have the opportunities for exposure, you then can actually do a call to actions that come buy my book, come read my book, or come watch my series, or come listen to my podcast, or come use my photography. There's going to be things that when it's top of mind, it's almost like putting it out in the universe when you kind of know what it is that you want. Yeah. You just basically keep going, do your best, and just have integrity. In my opinion, have integrity with what you do, because you will get there.
Oh, that's good advice. Thank you, Jimmy Wong.
Yeah, that's all right. And play poker in the meantime.
Yeah, and play poker in the meantime. Exactly. So Jimmy and I had a little bit of a chat earlier this morning, and I gave him a little tiny bit of a challenge. It wasn't anything monumental for the bariatric part of the pageant. Which was, I said to him, do you have any recommendations for food, as in a recipe for high protein, low fat, that can be done in small portions?
Okay. High protein, low fat, done in small portions. Well, there's lots you can do, and first of all, you look at the things that you have to work with. Like chicken is protein, and it's a great one. I always call chicken the universal meat, because depending on who you're talking to, people who do eat protein or meats will usually eat chicken. Like some people don't eat lamb, some people don't eat beef, blah, blah, blah. So chicken, and some people don't eat pork. So chicken is the universal meat. The other things that you look at, I love a lot of Asian flavors and things like, edamame is high in protein. You got quinoa that's high in protein. So using just those three things, I would do like a quinoa and edamame salad with a teriyaki chicken. And it is absolutely simple. And the reason why, you can pre-marinate your teriyaki chicken. You can cut up to the portion that you want. You can already have your quinoa salad, because it keeps for quite some time, and edamame. Just scoop out what you need. Make dinner or lunches for the next 3 or 4 days in one go. And if you want the recipe for a good teriyaki chicken, just go to jimmywongeats.com, and there will be a recipe section in there for a great teriyaki chicken.
Oh, nice. Because you could salmon that too.
You could salmon that. You could do so much. I have in that recipe is also a salmon version. So delish. So basically, what I'm trying to say is, cooking doesn't need to be difficult. It needs to be fairly simple, but at the same time, okay, as you said, protein. For me, I want flavor and something that's easy to cook and that you can portion out. This is something that's so super duper simple. I just snapped.
See, there you go, Hayley.
Oh, I'm so excited.
See, there you go, Hayley. Nice and easy.
Yeah, I'm just not on. I'm not on chicken at the moment. I'm beef. No. Strictly beef at the moment.
Well, tofu it then. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It's just I'm hit and miss with chicken. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's.
This is for other people, normal people on bariatric, not for you.
It is about me.
Yeah, but with beef, there's also a really good Thai beef salad that you can make too. It's a really fantastic one, and basically do a nam jim sauce, toss that together with some really nice salad, and there you go.
Okay, I'm going to make that, and I'll tag you in it.
Okay.
Yay. There you go.
On to the other portion of our pageant, as Cass likes to call it. What would your drag name be?
My drag name? Well, that's very different to the porn name, because like when we were kids, it's like, what your porn name was basically your first pet's name and the street you were living on. So my drag name would be, oh, wow, that's a good one.
I'm trying to think of one.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of one too. I mean, I'm not going to think of a million, but right now, what would my drag? I don't know. I mean, probably Barbara. I mean, how boring is that?
I think you could actually make something. I think you could make something out of Jimmy Wong Eats. Actually,
yeah, I could too. What would you make it?
Well, if we're going, so if we're doing the whole like porn name or whatever it is,
well, I'll tell you the porn name.
Hold your hats, because mine is Butch Streeton.
Well,
such a Butch Streeton.
My porn name would have been, and this is not about porn, is Dixon Fuller.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's your drag name too. Yeah. Sorry.
Dixon Fuller.
Or Fuller Dixon.
I'm sorry, but
Fuller. Oh, that would be
that's a better one. Fuller Dixon.
It doesn't matter.
Dixon.
So also, Jimmy Wong, because I affectionately refer to Jimmy as Jimmy Wong all the time.
Yes.
You also became the recent proud parent.
I did. Of a beautiful French bulldog. His name is Max. He is absolutely gorgeous, but he's gone from this teeny tiny thing to now like massive. He's like, we got him at about 2.8 kilos. He's about 4.5 months now, and he's about 8 kilos. He's huge. He's much bigger. And there's all the dog parenting things that I didn't really prepare myself for, from toilet training to whether you let them sleep in bed to, the walking to crate training to actually being able to leave them at home. I mean, it's a lot of those things in my mind. I'm thinking, I'm going to go for these beautiful walks. I'm going to have this obedient little dog and it's going to do everything I ask. It's going to fetch and it's going to give me a paw.
No, it's exactly the same as having children. Like we've just had our second one. And, you go from remembering all those good parts with the first one, and then you get to like the shit stage. He's just turned 1 and he's in a shit stage. Like he's just yelling at me. He's hitting me with Hot Wheels tracks. He's a giant monster. He's huge. And I'm like, I don't remember Leo being like an asshole. And now I have this little asshole. And then I'll go to my husband, like, do you want another one? He's like, fuck no.
Let me think about that now.
So will you be training little Max to sit on the back of your cute little Vespa?
Well, we have this, I have it somewhere, but I've got this bag, okay? And he sits in the bag. And since he was a puppy, because I only have a Vespa and I've sort of scooted around Surrey Hills or in this Vespa. And ever since he was a puppy, he always goes in the bag. Now he's a little bit bigger. He still goes in the bag. He sits really calmly. And we can go to our parks. We can go and get some lunch. We can do all sorts of things. So yes, I will be taking him around. We actually just recently, because I haven't been able to sort of take him off the leash when we go to the park. And we got this really long lead. It's like 30 meters. Basically, you put it on him, you just drop it on the ground, let him run around, and if you really need to catch him because it's 30 meters, you'll be able to catch it.
I think the $64,000 question is, do you let Max sleep in the bed with you?
$64,000 question is yes.
Of course, because that's what you do.
Not only yes, it is the best time when they're calm. The first week there was a few oopsies on the bed, but since then, no, there's been no oopsies. Everything's been beautiful, really, really calm in bed, well behaved. And if he needs to go potty, he'll let us know. Really good.
Okay, so Jimmy Wong, where can we find you on socials and things like that if anybody wants to check you out?
Yeah, check it out. So you can follow me on either Instagram or Facebook on Jimmy Wong Eats. That's the best one to sort of go to. I do have a private one, which we talk through, but Jimmy Wong Eats is the main one. And then you can sort of have a look at, some recipes as well as some articles over on my website, which is www.jimmywongeats.com.
Okay, good. Excellent. So is there anything coming up that we should know about that we could possibly go to see, anything like that?
Yeah, so I am actually working on a number of things. So first of all, one of my clients is Deli Door. They do home delivered food services and all the photography there I do. So first of all, if all those want some yummy food, go to delidor.com.au. I am also working with, I'm the vice chair of Surrey Hills Business Partnership, and we're working with the City of Sydney to create this festival coming up in Surrey Hills. It's called Heart of Surrey Hills. Basically, for the month of November, we've got about 40 venues that's doing specials, but also just to go and come and try some of the best food and beverages that we have in Surrey Hills. So I'll give you an example. We have Burke Street Bakery. The very first store here is in Burke Street. They're doing their pork and fennel sausage roll. They're doing their ginger brulee tart, which is amazing, by the way, a hot and cold drink for $15.
That's good.
That's great. So you've got Toki, which is a Korean izakaya. They're actually doing, if you do an early bird, if you get there before 6 o'clock, you can get for $15 2 starters, which is a kingfish ceviche, small one, a pork belly bao, and 2 half pours of sake for $15.
Pork belly bag.
Go and try. So there's going to be specials like this all over Surrey Hills for all of November. The website's going to go live today. And you can go to heartofsurreyhills.com.au.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jimmy.
That's all right.
Jimmy.
Thank you. We would love to have you on again when obviously you're free.
Okay. Yes, thank you.
And so we can move further on in discussions and all
We
of that other
promise
stuff.
we'll stop asking you about MasterChef.
You can do whatever you want. It's okay.
But
I can even give you some of the secrets of MasterChef if you like. Do you want one?
Yeah, go.
Yes.
Listen.
Okay. This is going to burst your bubble a little bit. You know how we get driven around in those beautiful SUVs?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We're not in the SUVs.
No, of course you're not.
So what happens is that they've done the pre-recording and then we're in the green room and you've got to do a drive up. So you basically go outside that beautiful garden, you get into these SUVs, they come in, it's like, get out.
So funny.
So what do they like mini bus you there or something?
Yeah. I'm sorry, MasterChef. We love you.
Jimmy Wong spilling the tea on I Cook, I Cry. Well, thank you so much for your time. Like, we really appreciate you giving us all of this time, and we would love to have you on again so we could talk even more about everything.
Okay, great. Lovely to see you both.
Lovely to see you too. And we will catch up very, very soon.
Yes.
Yep.
Everyone say thank you to Jimmy Wong. Jimmy
Bye.
Wong.
Thanks, Jimmy.
See ya.
All right. Yes, we'll do local drag shows.
We have Drag in the Dark, Darlinghurst Road, Grove Bar, Potts Point, every Saturday night, 8:30 p.m. with an immersive drag cabaret experience with Victoria Mammy and a different special guest each week because I had a look on the website. So, like, you won't recognize any of the queens, but it's drag and it's cabaret, like dinner, show. A different drag queen with Victoria Mammy every each week. It's every Saturday night until October 29, and tickets are available on Humantix, Humantix. And I believe the tickets are between $55 and $80, depending on whether or not you want the dinner and show or just drinks in the show. We also have Death Becomes Her with Ella Warra and Roxy Horror at the Vault on the 21st of October, which is in 2 weeks. At the Vault, the 21st of October and November 19th, tickets are $35. And coming up in November, we have Charismatic, who will be performing Soiree, the Drag Circus Dinner Cabaret, 11th of November, Club York, 95 to 99 York Street, Sydney, 6 p.m. to 10:30. I actually checked that out as well. It is a proper cabaret with proper dinner and proper show, and the tickets are $120 minimum. Okay, but for $120, you get dinner and a show. Like, I'll take it. And then on October 14th, we have Bingo Balls for a Cause, 6 to 11 p.m. with Prada Clutch and in the Queen Victoria building in Sydney. Every Wednesday at the King's Cross Hotel, Maxi Shield hosts the Big Fact Hunt Trivia Night starting at 7 p.m. So thank you, everybody, for watching this week's episode of Drag Me Out. If you want to hit the like and subscribe button on the YouTubes, that would be great. Don't forget to follow us on Insta at DragMeOutOfficial. If any up-and-coming drag queens, any regular drag queens, anybody from RuPaul's Drag Race drag queens, anybody like that would like to have a chat, hit us up in the DMs on DragMeOutOfficial on Instagram. And thank you once again for listening to the episode. And thank you, Jimmy Wong.
Thank you. Bye, Jimmy.
Bye.
Bye.